can cause overwhelming feelings. It can cause an anxiety feelings. It can cause anger. It can cause bitterness. It can cause grief. It can cause strife. Like it can cause all of these things because we've abandoned ourselves or we've neglected to take care of ourselves because we got to take care of the children and we got to take care of the household. We got to make sure that our husbands are good. And if we're not aware or conscious to the fact that we ourselves are being abandoned, even in our health, that we ourselves are being abandoned, it can cause a serious spiritual, mental, physical break. It can cause a place of breaking to where we look around and we just are like we've picked up an anxiety.
For us to see, you know, do we really love each other?
She was a wise woman.
You don't know what you don't know, right? So once you're exposed to something new, you're like, wow, this is how it's supposed to.
I don't know what to do. He will, of course, cover me in prayer. He have done things my own way, very erroneous.
I mean, when I tell you endured,
it was just the overflow of every emotion.
The word widow, I completely despise.
Has tainted this area of sex so much.
Hey, Kingdom Wife, Mom, Boss. Thank you so much for joining me today on another episode of the Kingdom Wife, Mom, Boss podcast. Listen, how y'all doing out there? How y'all doing out there, Kingdom Wives, Kingdom Moms, Kingdom Bosses, just Kingdom women all together? I'm sending prayers out to y'all who are wives of husbands who, which I don't know a wife who has a husband that is not like sports crazy. It's football season. It's football season. And I live in Florida. I'm gonna tell you something that was so funny to me. Last week, after the first round of games, the three main Florida teams, which is Miami, University of Florida in Gainesville, and then FSU in Tallahassee, were all on the, I think I want to say like top 15, top 15, top 20. I don't know. If you can't tell, I'm not a, like, I don't care about the sports. I am a Florida State Seminole through marriage. That be it. Florida State Seminole through marriage. But last week, they were all on the top. And it's funny that this week, well, it's not really funny, but this week, Florida lost to University of South Florida. And for that 1 week, there's a kumbaya moment of, oh, these all three of these teams are on the top 15, and that's amazing. It's great to see Florida on top. And baby, I see y'all already turning in rivalry. And I just think that is hilarious that they lost one game and you already on their behind. So prayers going out to the wives who have husbands that are just mad crazy football fans. That's definitely my husband. He goes to sleep listening to it in his ear, and I'm like, oh my goodness. Anyways, prayers going out to y'all. I'm just saying. It's enough, like, right? It's enough. And so I just wanted to check on y'all today. Like, how are y'all doing out there? You know, whenever you first have a baby and you come home from the hospital and like people forget about you, like it's like, where's the baby? Where's the baby? They ain't studying you. They ain't even said hey to you. Girl, you just freshly pushed the baby out and they pushing you out of the way to get to the baby. It's like it almost becomes abandonment of the mother. Like, hey, you don't see me? Like you don't see me standing here? You just want the baby? And that, listen, that moment where self-abandonment happens, that is the moment that a lot of parents experience. Nobody really talks about these kids that are like trying our sanity and trying our gangster and trying our patience, and we have to make sure that we're good and we're equipped and we're strengthened and we're strong to be able to walk out this journey in this process. I'm gonna tell you, uh, trying to remain sanity as a mother sometimes is just it's a lot. I had a situation where I needed to iron something for my son, and I said, yeah, plug up the iron. And he said, okay. So I went to go get ready to iron it, and he hadn't plugged it up. I said, hey, why didn't you plug up the iron? And he was like, oh, you wanted me to plug up the iron? No, I just said plug up the iron for the fun of it. And then he said, okay. I said, go ahead, plug up the iron. I said, this is the second time I'm telling him, plug it up again. And so he says, okay. He walks out of the room. He walks into the room, that has an iron in it. And so I'm thinking, cool, he's plugged up the iron. So I get ready to go back in and iron it again. The iron is still not plugged. And I was like, yo, what are you doing? Why isn't the arm plugged? And he said, oh, you wanted me to plug up. It's like nobody talks about remaining calm and being sane as a mother when kids are like not even listening to you. Nobody talks about these kids that try your gangster. They always say it's the second kid. Baby, it's my second kid. He tries my gangster all of the time. Now, as he's grown, he's gotten better about not trying me the way that he used to try me. But, yo, like, he tries it all of the time. And I told him, I said, dude, you keep trying my gangster. His favorite thing is to say, you ain't got no authority. Sir, I will knock you down up in this place. So anyways, nobody talks about the sanity that we try to like maintain with these kids who have their own personalities, and they show up to like these different capacities, and you got to navigate the best way to deal with these children and make sure that you're walking as the godly mom or walking as a mother of wisdom and not hurting these children or hurting their feelings when you really just want to like scream. And add into addition that if you're a wife during football season, no, I'm just kidding. But if you're a wife who is trying to navigate marriage and navigate leadership and navigate different aspects of the marriage while being a mother, it can be a lot on a woman. Just household things, and if you own your own business things, if you're in leadership things, even just guiding these children and being the mother that we need to be to these children, and making sure that we're teaching them the word of God, making sure that they're learning their relationship in the depth of who God is, and while showing up as a wife and a daughter and whatever else that you need to show up, it can be a lot. And so that feeling when you come home from the hospital and everybody's like rushing to look at your child or rushing to hold your child, and they're just forgetting you and bypassing you, and it almost is like an abandonment of you and who you are and what you do. Like, I pushed this child out, you ain't gonna like even ask me how I'm doing. You ain't even gonna speak. You ain't even gonna say hey. You ain't even gonna ask me how I'm doing. That becomes, sometimes for a lot of women, they don't deal with that very well. They don't have like certain people in their circle or certain people in their corner that can like pray them through some things, or have the discernment to recognize that they're in a state of abandonment, even to yourself. I remember with my first child, first of all, I gained 50 pounds with my first child. I never lost it. Never lost it, gained 50 pounds. And I had such a depression looks different for everyone. My depression kind of looked masked in like a heavy insecurity of all I wore, I guess back then, was like sweatpants and yoga pants and big old t-shirts. I never wore anything that was like dressing up or making me feel confident in my skin. Like none of those things. I just wore like big baggy clothes because I had such an insecurity about the weight that I gained. And I see a lot of women do that, and they term of the world is letting yourself go. That's what they call it. But really, it is just navigating this new chapter in your life. And even though we know that we have this important role as a mother, we have this important role as a wife, even years later, we can neglect and abandon ourselves and what we need and how we need to be accepted and how we need to receive love. We can abandon those things, and it can cause us to feel alone. It can cause overwhelming feelings. It can cause an anxiety feelings. It can cause anger, it can cause bitterness, it can cause grief, it can cause strife. Like it can cause all of these things because we've abandoned ourselves or we've neglected to take care of ourselves because we got to take care of the children and we got to take care of the household. We got to make sure that our husbands are good. And if we're not aware or conscious to the fact that we ourselves are being abandoned, even in our health, that we ourselves are being abandoned, it can cause a serious spiritual, mental, physical break. It can cause a place of breaking to where we look around and we just are like we've picked up an anxiety, we've picked up all of these things that are further adding to the burden of everything else that we have going on. And I believe it's the way that it's so important, man. It's the way that we look at it. It's the influence that we have around us. It's the people in our corners and on our teams, because even for me, when I had that moment where I was like just wearing big baggy clothes, like I still felt seen. I just, had my insecure moments, but I felt seen because I had people around me who saw me. So having someone around you who sees you is imperative. I can't preach enough of how important it is to make sure that you have a good circle of people around you in this season where we're navigating new normals and we're shifting and change. Like God is shifting and changing some things in our day-to-day routines or in our lives. We being accustomed to like new standards and new journeys and new daily routines, we can neglect ourselves. And because it is a mindset of trying to get established in this new thing that we're doing and we've neglected ourselves, it can be overwhelming and burden. And so I pray that you have someone around you that can see you and see the overwhelming and see the burden and see that there are some things that need to happen so that you don't come to this place of a break, right? You don't come to this place of breaking. Your family needs you. Your children need you. Your husband need you. You need you. Like you need the healthiest version of you. Being a wife and being a mom is a blessing, but when we are neglecting to take care of ourselves, it can feel like a burden. It can feel like a heavy weight. It can feel like a struggle. It can feel like chains. It can just feel like something that we don't necessarily want to deal with, but it's because we've neglected to take care of ourselves. And what does taking care of yourself look like? It means taking care of yourself spiritually, emotionally, taking moments to just be alone or go away and just have it. Some people need it. Go away and have a day to yourself to where you don't have to hear mom, you don't have to hear honey, or you don't have to hear all of these things that you feel like you're constantly being pulled on, and you're never filled. Filling is one of the most important things that we can do when it comes to avoiding wife mom burnout. We want to avoid wife mom burnout. So today we're just going to talk about a couple of things that keep us from feeling burnt out as a wife and a mom. What can we do to avoid these things? I believe I shared with y'all before. My husband used to say to me all the time that I set myself up for a lot of the stuff that I do, and I do. I sign my kids up for like 10,000 sports activities, and we have youth group and praise dance, and we have all of these things that we're signed up for that we got to go and do. And at some point, it just mentally becomes exhausting. But for me, I always say my kids are only here for a time period, because when they get 18 and they graduate high school and they decide they want to go to college or they decide they want to do other things, they're not going to be in my home. And so the memories that we make while they're here to me are so important. Those are things that they can take with them. And since, of course, when I lost my mom last year, memories are the thing that I get to carry with me on a day-to-day basis. I remember my mother being a supporter. I remember my mom like doing whatever she could to make sure that she was taking care of her children. And so for me, I'm okay I'm okay stretching myself to make sure that my kids are getting the best of living their childhood that they can. And I know for a lot of people that can be hard or that can be overwhelming. So for me, I think it's important to sit and figure out what is best for you and your family. And again, this goes back to remembering that the way of the world is not your specific way. This person might do something one way and it can be absolutely amazing, but that might not be the way that works for you. I truly believe you have to sit with God and let God show you what is going to work for you and your family. So, number one, spiritually sitting with God for time period in a time period in the day, multiple time periods if you are at that level, but if you're not at that level, then a time period in a day of just prayer and worshiping and journaling what it is that God is speaking to you in your family. God will give you some information in your quiet time with Him, and I've said this before, like what your kids need and what your husband needs, what's going on in your household, what you need to do to, for me, even is what I need to do to like get my mind off of the task list, like the to-do list. What can I check off my to-do list today that's not going to take me out? That's not going to mentally drain me. Like, what can I do on my task list today? Meditating on the scripture and remembering that God cares about who you are, oh God, and that He assigned you as a wife and as a mom. And because He gave you that assignment, He trusted you to be a good steward over that assignment. And that as long as you continue to walk in alignment with Him and alignment with He speaks for the assignment that He has given you, you're going to thrive in it. You're going to thrive in it. And can I just say, your thrive is not going to look like somebody else's thrive. It's so important to not compare who you are as a wife and a mom to who somebody else is as a wife and a mom. That situation is for them. This situation is for you. What has God spoken to you as far as being a wife and a mom? And just taking that moment to just connect with Him on a day-to-day basis brings so much peace in this walk. And it also helps you navigate hardships and trouble in motherhood and hardships in marriage. It helps you to get through these things and to not allow these things to become permanent weights on your household. And so physically, rest and sleep. Now, can I just tell you, me and God is having a conversation about this one right now. Me and God is having a conversation about this one right now because I told y'all, like, my 3-year-old doesn't sleep. I love her so much. She's so, like, she loves to cuddle in the middle of the night and when she's going to sleep. And I absolutely love that. Like, I absolutely love the cuddling. But sis, I also need some sleep. hmm I also need some sleep. And so, rest and sleep, making sure that you're getting enough rest, enough sleep. And I think it's important to differentiate that sometimes rest is more than sleep. Like sometimes you need to just rest your mind. Sometimes you need to just rest your body. It isn't just sleeping, it's girls, sit down and get off of your feet for just a moment because you are best when you feel good. If you feel like your body is just burnt out or torn down from like the wear and the tear of the day of going, doing, showing up, you need to learn how to take a moment of rest. And even I've had to, it's churchy, but I'm gonna say it. There is so much rest in just sitting with God in those moments of peace and just allowing God to minister to you the instructions for your life, for your marriage, and for your childhood. And so for me, sometimes rest, I don't know if this sounds like crazy, but for me, I've sacrificed sleep so that I could have rest. I hope that makes sense. Like I've sacrificed sleep. Like I've get up in early in the morning so that I could have rest for the rest of my day. Like, okay, God, what's on the agenda today? What's on the list today? What am I doing today? What can I get done today? And it rests my mind and it rests my spirit. Now, granted, I did just say I barely get sleep. So how do I sacrifice sleep when I'm not getting the sleep that I want anyway? Like I tell my husband this all the time. God is so amazing in the restoration process because I get the sleep that I need. And there are moments where I can get sleep. What can I say? Like I can get sleep and it feels like I've gotten enough sleep that I need to do what it is that I need to do. And so sacrificing that sleep so that my mind and my spirit can be rested in God through the rest of the day and through the rest of the week for me is so important. In health, nutrition, hydration, I suck at water. I don't know if you ever heard me say like me and water are arch enemies. I don't know. I don't really care for it. I have certain ways that I can drink it, but most of the time if I'm craving water, like I am dehydrated, baby. I'm already dehydrated. And so I'm spending the day trying to catch my body up to the hydration level. So I'm my confession, I suck at hydration, but I can't tell you how important it is. There's aches and pains that happen in your body when you don't drink the amount of water that you need to drink. Sis, drink your water. Drink your water. Eat your food that you need to power up or impact your body, those power foods that you need, those health foods that you need. God has definitely been guiding me on a journey for the last couple of years, even about the things that I've eaten. And he's told me to like stop eating certain things. And why am I so hard-headed? Why am I so hard-headed? Because I'll be like, okay, Lord, can I have this today? Like I miss these things, right? But anyways, he tells me this because I know that it impacts how I show up. I can eat things that make me feel sluggish. Dairy gives me a headache. Dairy impacts a lot of people, and I think a lot of people ignore it. But drinking milk, just milk, I don't want to say dairy, but just drinking milk itself gives me a headache. I don't even drink milk anymore. And if I do, then I'll drink like lactate milk if I decide that I want to eat something, that I want to drink milk with. Then I'll drink lactate milk, which does not give me a headache the way regular milk gives me. But the things that we eat and put into our body, they impact our health and how we show up. And it can contribute to burnout because if you're constantly going, you don't have the health to keep up with what it is you're going. There was that post of or that story of that one lady, which was very sad. And it was talking about, how she was working. And she was like, okay, I need to sleep. And then she went to sleep and she just didn't get up. Our bodies will let us know that we're tired, that we're unhealthy, that we have something going on. Like if we just take the moment to listen to our bodies will let us know. Exercising. So, all right, my sis, she was on the show. My sis LaShonda, she is doing a Zumba class. I think it's a Zumba class. And she's like, when you coming? When you coming? Sis, listen, I'm gonna come at some point. But me and exercise are not the best of friends either. Do you know, like, I have to fight every single thing that I don't necessarily do or love to do just so I can make sure that I'm doing what is best for my body. And I think a lot of women are like that. I can get on a treadmill and I can walk, I can go outside and I can walk. I've done those things for periods of time. Even did a walking challenge. Was that last year? Mm. Nope, it was the year before last. I did a walking challenge the year before last. And it kept me accountable for making sure that I was just getting my miles in and walking the way that I need to walk. But just showing up and doing those things so that our body can be in the health and the position that it needs to be in. Sometimes it's a busy job when you got kids. You got to keep up with these kids. You got to show up to all these different capacities. You got to have a mind that's like focused and can think. Like, have you ever been so sluggish that you literally could not clearly think? A lot of that is from the food that we eat and the exercise that we lack. Just being like honest in the things that I've learned over the last couple of years when it comes to taking care of myself to make sure that I am not burnt out trying to. Girl, I see you, sis. God is calling you to do these things because he wants you to go deeper in him and you're struggling with it, and God is like continuously telling you to execute these things and to do these things because he has something that he needs you to show up for and something that he needs you to do. And in order to do it, you got to balance everything else well. And so God doesn't talk to us about these things for no reason at all. Sometimes there is work that he wants us to do, or he wants us to go to a deeper place in him, and he knows that we're not going to be able to maintain it. Did I tell y'all, man, was that last year? Last year. Was that last year? Whatever. I had a 3 o'clock season. God will wake me up around 3 o'clock every single night. And it was over the summer, like while the kids wasn't in school. God is so perfect. Anyways, and so at the end of that season, he was like, your season is, that's this. He told me very specifically that the season was coming to an end. And I was like, no, why? Like, my tired self. But I loved getting up and just spending that time with God at 3 o'clock in the morning, to know that he was calling me at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I could get up and be like, okay, God, here I am. Like, let's talk. But he was like, this season is coming to an end. And I was like, why? He says, you're not going to be able to sustain it. He was not lying, because once school got in, girl, I don't like it is the adjustment period between when school starts, and I feel like we don't really get adjusted until like October. But there was no way I could have sustained that space and still had that 3 o'clock season. Now God still wakes me up sometimes in the middle of the night to get up and pray, but it's not a every single night spending an hour with him or however long with him every single night, right? It's a different season. And he moved me to a different season, one that I could sustain. But in that moment I was just like, why are you taking this season away from me? And he was like, you're just not gonna be able to sustain it. Having a confidence about you keeps you from a breaking point as a wife. Being able to go get your hair done, or be able to go get a massage, being able to like go, for me it was shopping. I make your moments of self-care the way that God will allow for you to make them, in whatever season, in whatever capacity that you're able to do it. I remember years back, um, every Friday when I got paid, I would go to Waffle House. Don't judge me, because she loves Waffle House. But I would go to Waffle House, and that would be my breakfast. Like, it was just like a treat to myself. When I got paid, I would go to Ross, or I would go somewhere and go, like, I had an X amount of money. Okay, this amount of money I'm going to spend. Granted, because I'm still a mom, half of the time I didn't even spend that money on myself. I spent it on household things, or I spent it on children. But it was just like a moment where it was just me walking through the store with my drink and whatever else, just having a personal time, doing something that I love. So for me, that was shopping or eating, mind your business. But anyways, those things felt great to me. When I used to go and get my nails done, I don't like going to the hair salon. I've never liked going to the hair salon. Girl, I don't even like going to the nail salon. It's just something about it. Like, it's just not for me. It's not something that I like absolutely love. But while I'm there, I try to like find a moment in the moment, a moment of peace, a moment of quiet, get a headset and put on something in my ear. I'm not being like needed for anything. It's just a moment of self and personal care for me. And I think if that's something that you need, then that's amazing. Note that that's not the only thing that's going to sustain you, but if that's something that you need or something that you love, girl, no judgment here. If God said that you can have it and God said that you can do it, then go have it and go do it. What I love is that God meets you where you are and takes you to the place that he desires for you to be. There are people who might look down on you for go do these things or having these things. Girl, ignore them people. Ignore them people. Your journey as a mother, your journey as a wife is between you and God. You don't have to answer to or give a explanation to anyone about what it is that you are doing to make sure that you are emotionally okay. And this also goes into alone time. just allowing yourself to do these things without feeling guilty about it. I think it is the guilt, like it is the mom guilt of not being perfect in every area that also causes such a weight or a place of breaking. You're not perfect. You're not going to be perfect. Who is perfect? Who is perfect? But God gives perfect leadership. And if we follow what it is that He's instructing for us to do, then we're going to be all right. You're going to be all right, sis. You're doing what He's instructing for you to do. You're going to be all right. You don't have to be guilt. You don't have to feel guilt because you're not able to do something for your children. You're not able to buy something. You're not able to give something. You're not able to be there for a moment. For me, that is why it was so important to make sure that I make as many moments as with my children as I could, make as many memories with my children as I can. Because what if there is a time that I am not going to be able to be there? I want them to be able to draw back and remember all of the times that I was there, everything that I was able to do. Even with my husband, right? I want him to know that his wife is always going to do her best to show up for him, to honor him, and to give him what he needs to successfully navigate his day. I am one of those wives who fix breakfast and lunch for my husband. There was a time where I did not do that. My husband decided at one point that he didn't want lunch. He don't like feeling like sluggish and heavy. Girl, do y'all ever see these reels? These people be fixing. I got excited. These people be fixing, I mean, huge meals for the husband. And I'm like, baby, your husband gonna need to go to sleep after he eats that. Like, that is insane. My husband does not be wanting all that stuff. Like, he don't want to take like actual like meal food when he goes to work. So I make him light breakfast, light lunch, and then he comes home and he eats dinner. I give him snacks throughout the day. But he decided for a time period that he didn't really want lunches, so I stopped packing his lunch during that time period. But now, he works however he works, and so he wants the lunches, the breakfast and the lunches and stuff. But I want him to know that I'm going to show up to the capacity, to the best of my ability for him to make sure that he can navigate his day in the most peaceful and stress-free way. And so when I'm having a moment or I'm having a time, let's say I forget, or let's say I didn't go to the grocery store and get what I need to get. If I'm having a time or having a moment, I want to make sure that I've built up such a trust with him that he knows that I'm always going to do my best to show up to the best of my ability, to show up to the best of my capacity. And that if I had an off moment, it's easy to release that off moment because he knows that the work that I have done as a wife. And I think when we work to honor our husbands or we work to show up for our children in this capacity, when we have an off moment or we have a moment where we can't show up to a certain level, or baby, maybe we just need to rest and we just can't do it right now. I think that those things that we have built up should allow us to release any guilt that we feel for not being able to show up to a certain level or a certain capacity. Guilt is literally there to keep us bound and keep us chained and make us feel inferior and insecure in the position and the roles that we have, that God has called us for. So have some alone time. Don't feel guilt about it. Take care of yourself. Make sure you're good. And hobbies and interests. Listen, I'm still trying to figure out what my hobbies are. I don't how do you be my age and not know what your hobbies are? I am the poster child. I think I've been so busy taking care of my family, like taking care of my kids and working and all of these other things that I never took the time to like pay attention to what are some things that I really like to do, productive things that I really like to do. Because I had to speak at church today, and I even talked about how TV was my hobby. And TV is just like the biggest waste of time. So what are some productive, and I'll still watch it every now and then, but I don't watch it the way that I used to watch it. But what are some productive hobbies that we have that help us mentally and emotionally, like release the worries and the stresses of the day or of the week. That's important. Having the support hood or the counseling or the coaching, like who is in your circle that is going to encourage you and motivate you and to help you see that you are showing up to the best of your capacity. You don't need to feel the guilt. You need the alone time. You need to take a moment to yourself. Girls' night, girl, listen, go have you a girl date night and talk things out with your girlfriends with wisdom. With wisdom, talk things out with your girlfriends, whatever it is that you need to speak to them to just make sure that you get those things off of your chest, right? And you're not carrying those things around. Date night is so important. Communication is so important in the aspect of just making sure that you're not burnt out. Like being able to go to your husband and say, because baby, she's gonna do it every single time. My and he used to make me so mad because I used to go to him and I'd be like, I'm feeling crazy. And he'd be like, oh, and like he'll listen to what I'm saying, right? But if he ever come in the house and I'm like looking like a little off-putting, he'd be like, you feeling crazy today? Bruh, don't make me fight you. Don't make me fight you today. Don't be calling me crazy. But just being able to go to your spouse and just let them know like how you're feeling. If you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling crazy, like I pray that you have a husband who is going to do what they can to make sure that they alleviate that weight, that burden, right? And so my husband is that husband. Like he's a husband that tries to like fix everything. And so if I say I'm having an off time, or if I say I'm tired, if I say I'm exhausted, like he can be tired and exhausted too, and he'll still try to like do extra or do what he can to make sure that he is taking some of the weight or the burden off of me. I remember a year where I was having some problems. Like I had to get the kids up in the morning and get them going. And I was having some problems with one of the kids getting up in the morning. And when they were getting up in the morning, they were having an attitude. And I was like, listen, I can't do this like every morning. Like it's draining me, it's burning me out. Next thing I know, baby, that child was acting so right. And I talked to my husband about it. He was like, yeah, I had a conversation with that child and told that child, blah, 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 blah. Like having a husband that backs you up in these areas is it's such a blessing. It's such a blessing. But I think where a lot of women get hung up is that they assume that their spouses know what's going on with them. They don't have this open line of communication. They don't speak to their husbands about what they're feeling or what they're struggling with. They just automatically assume that these husbands know exactly what's going on with them. And so having the open line of communication and just letting our husbands know, like, this is what I'm experiencing and this is what I'm going through, and just telling them what you need from them. And vice versa, right? Your husband telling you what he needs from you. I think sometimes it can be taken as an insult, right? Or as a jab, when honestly we should just be receiving what it is that our husbands are saying and doing the best that we can to make sure that we alleviate anything that's going on with him, like any burden or weight that he's feeling, any stress, God, any stress that he's feeling. And just honestly, men don't really talk about um their burdens or their hardships as much as women may talk about theirs. They try to like hold theirs in because they feel like they got to be the man, they got to be tough. They can't, like, talking about their feelings is soft. In these moments, these moments are when it is so absolutely beautiful to have that connection and relationship with God where he reveals to you what your husband needs. Because even though your husband may not say it out of his mouth, and I pray that he gets to a place where he does say it out of his mouth, God knows what your husband needs. And so he can tell you what it is that your husband needs so that you can do what you can to help your husband. And so don't lose yourself in the journey of motherhood and um, being a wife. Like, don't abandon yourself so that everybody who's looking at you can see that your children are good, that your husband is good, and all of this is well, and all of this is taken care of. But deep down inside in your heart, deep down in your spirit, you are feeling so stressed and emotionally overwhelmed that you feel like you're about to break. Do not allow yourself to get to that point. And I do feel like it is easier said than done. But listen to everything that we just talked about. Sit with God and ask God to show you. I think that I don't think we cannot underestimate the power, the beauty, the advantage of sitting with God and asking God to show us ourselves, asking Him to show us what we are struggling with, show us where we're going, show us if we're on task, show us if we're on path. He will reveal those things to us. He will reveal the weights, the burdens. He will reveal if we're heading into a place of bondage, if we're heading into a pit. Like, He will reveal those things to us. And it's definitely something that we have to utilize often to make sure that we don't come to a place where we feel so burdened down by day-to-day life, because the assignment is a blessing. It's not a burden. The assignment is a blessing. It's not a burden. But when we don't go to God and ask God to show us how to walk out this blessing, it will become a burden. And that burden can become so heavy that it causes us to break. And so, kingdom wife, mom, boss, I just want you to thrive in the assignment. I don't want you to be burdened down and broken. I want you to thrive, and not for show, not for looks, although God gets the glory, because people will see you and people will see the God in you and see the God in your house and see the God in your family, even when things aren't going perfect, even when things are um not going the right way, when you have kids that seem to be mischievous, when you have kids that seem to be making the wrong decisions, people will still be able to see the God in you. They might not want to, they might want to talk about you, they might want to say, oh, look at this family, they're doing this and they're doing that, but because of the grace that God has given you for the assignment, people will still see God in you. And they will know that God is carrying you through. So we're not doing this for the looks, although people see it. We're doing this for the peace. We're doing this for the glory of God. We're doing this so that we can just really not carry the weight or the burden into the blessing of the promise that God has for us and our families. And so that was all we're going to chat about today. I have a couple of special guests coming up in this month, and I think that they are going to be absolutely amazing. I'm definitely looking for God to continue to speak what you guys need to speak. Sometimes I go to God and I be like, okay, God, what are we doing in this podcast episode? Like, what is it that your daughter needs to hear? And I believe that He always gives me something, even if it is just something that one person needs to hear. I believe He always gives me something that that one person needs to help carry them through a hard time or a tough battle or a tough situation. And so I will continue to go to God and ask God to help me communicate what it is that He needs to speak to His daughters. And so I love you guys so much, and I pray that you guys have an amazing week. And I will catch you on the next episode. Don't forget to go back and listen and make notes and sit with God and make a plan for liberation and walking in the blessing of being a Kingdom Wife Mom Boss. And I will catch you guys later. Bye. Hey, I hope that you enjoyed the episode. Make sure that you catch us every week here on the Kingdom Wife Mom Boss podcast, where we are bringing you new episodes, new content, new information, new empowerment, new strategies, and new strength. Until then, I'll catch you next time.